Welcome back to the Owl Arcade. It's been a hot minute since we've been here with the Galaga machine, since our collection video, link in the description, because hot is about right. It's hot, it's humid. I've really not been that keen to get out in the garage, but we need to start making some progress. So today we will be stripping down our Galaga machine. Again, if you look at the collection video, you will see what kind of condition the machine was received in and get an idea of what we're dealing with here. We're going to take everything off that's detachable. We're going to get down just to the bare cabinet itself, and we're going to figure out what needs to be done in order to resurrect this classic arcade machine. We're going to start by taking a look at the tools that we're going to use for this job today, starting with this. Very important. It's keeping the air moving and keeping us cool. It's hot out here, like I've already mentioned, so we need some airflow. We are going to clean out the inside of the machine with the shop vac. We are also going to discharge the monitor before we do anything else on the inside there, so that we don't electrocute ourselves. We've got a whole bag of tools for every single fastener that we might encounter within this beast. And we have a bunch of boxes so that we can basically package everything up safely and store it while we're working on the cabinet. And we also have, that tool's broken, hang on. That's that one fixed. And also, of course, we have plenty of water because we're sweating out here and we need to stay hydrated. Safety first and all that. Here's the tool that we use to discharge the monitor. This is basically an automotive jumper cable and a long flat-bladed screwdriver. Of course, I feel obliged to state at this point that you mess around with a CRT at your own risk. If you get it wrong, you can end your life. So if you don't know what you're doing with these, please don't touch it, get some professional help. To discharge this monitor, we're effectively shorting the contact underneath the anode cap there to the monitor chassis. So we'll be clipping one end onto the chassis and then using the screwdriver to just sneak up underneath that rubber cap and make contact with the anode underneath. So we're connected up here. The rest of my body is not touching anything at all. I'm keeping well away from anything else on this cabinet. We just snuck up underneath and we've made contact. So that monitor should be discharged. And there you go, we've popped that off so we can keep working on this cabinet. Knowing that the monitor itself has been discharged, there's nothing in there that's going to zap us and hurt us. And yes, you probably saw it just there, I need a new screwdriver. I mean, seriously, how does this happen? How does that happen? We're going to start by pulling this board set back out. If you recall from the collection video where we checked to see if we could get this working when we first got it back home, this is the board set that showed most promise. So I'm going to pull this back out. We're going to put it to one side and mark it up so that we know this is the one that we're going to go after first of all when we start on the electronic side of things to see if we can get the game itself working. So let's get these connectors disconnected. This is the video connector. Just pull that one off, put that to one side. We've got power around the back and main harness edge connector. This retaining bracket at the back here was kind of already bent back when I got the machine, because obviously, you know, it's easier just to kind of push that out the way to pull the board set out than it is to disassemble it, just like this bracket down here at the front. I'm going to have to straighten them up anyway, so I am going to push that out the way, and we're just going to lift the board set out and away. So now we're going to grab the vac and we're going to give the inside a good tidy out. We've got spiders. One thing that I'll point out about this back panel is that it is bowed. If you look at it in profile, you'll see that it's bowed in the middle there. I suspect that's because, again, if you take a look at the collection video, you'll see how I received this thing. It doesn't quite fit in the recess properly. It actually sits against the top here. So it was fastened in the middle and it was fastened at the top. So it was held at the top, it was fastened in the middle, and it's kind of pulled this middle section inwards. I've got a strategy on how we can straighten this back out again. I would like to reuse this back panel. It is in really bad shape, but again, I'm trying to keep this original, trying to salvage what we can. So now I'm going to take my camera and I'm going to fully document where everything is inside this machine. All of the sticker placement, all of the attachment points for the harnesses, absolutely everything about how this thing is currently configured, so that we can refer back to those pictures when I've forgotten what that all looked like on the inside there. So let's get to documenting. One of the reasons I like doing these videos actually is for documentation, for my own memory. So I already lost a sticker when we were vacuuming the cabinet out, and it came from the CRT. It came from right there, that clean patch that you can see. So I've made a note of that now, I've documented it, so that we can put it back once we've refurbed the monitor. I've had to turn the fan off for a second because it was blowing my camera around on the tripod, but we're going to start by quickly taking out this replacement power supply. It's just a case of undoing the terminals with a crosshead screwdriver. And this wasn't even fixed into the cabinet at all, this was just left kind of hanging in there. So once we've gotten these wires all unclamped, we should just be able to pull this up and away. There we go. Now we're going to remove the original power supply. Obviously that's not connected to anything, so we assume that this is bad, and that's why the replacement power supply is in there. This is using a 1/4 inch socket. We've got 4 screws, 1 in each corner. Come on, you. Man, these are some rusty screws. And away. And just for the record, I am putting all of the fasteners into a magnetic fastener bucket so that they don't go missing. Since we're here with our 1/4 inch socket, we'll just go ahead and remove this interlock switch. Oh, it's at a bit of an angle there, that's why I didn't get a good connection on that. I've put these in the interlock cover cap so that we know which ones go where. I had to look up what this is. This is actually a rapid fire board. I guess it's a mod that can be made to Galaga's. So I'm going to remove that now. Lost another sticker. And away. Let's get this cage out. I'm not so sure how successful this is going to be because it's pretty gnarly and rusty down here, but we're going to give it a go. Okay, we've got an earth strap on here. I caught that with the pictures that I took moments ago documenting how everything looks on the inside here. Yeah, these things are pretty nasty. And that one was partially out anyway. Now it's fully out. And so is the frame. I'm going to pull our video cable off. There's these 2 connector blocks here. There we go, put that out of the way. I found this serviceman warning sticker down in the bottom of the cabinet warning about X-rays, so that's clearly something that came off of the tube or off of the CRT somewhere, so we'll put that to one side. Got another couple stickers down in the bottom there, really not quite sure where they're from. I'm guessing this used to be wrapped around the power cable, and don't know where that's from, we'll figure it out. I would like to have a go at pulling this board out with the isolation transformer and all the other bits and pieces on here. So I'm going to pull all these kind of cables out the way, figure out what's connected to what needs disconnecting, and get to the point where we just need to take the fasteners out and then that board will come out. We have a strategy. So there's a connection back here, so we can disconnect that. There's a ground strap that runs to the isolation transformer, one of the legs on there, so we're just going to disconnect that. There's the main fuse, so we're going to pull the fuse out and then take that off the side of the cabinet. And then the rest of this junk is pretty hard on here, and I don't really fancy fishing all of that off, to be honest. So I'm going to chase this back up the harness here and the attachment points on the cabinet all the way through up to the top and up and in there, and then we're going to pull all of that back and then pull all of that junk out all at one time. So let's give that a go. I'm going to start by taking this marquee off so that we can get to the lighting fixtures behind it, start disconnecting stuff at the top end here, and then chase it back down through to that board in the bottom of the cabinet. So we're just looking at 3 screws. 1, 2, and 3. And that should be this disconnected. There it is. Galaga by Midway. This is kind of fallen out of here, I guess. It should be in this slot. But because the cabinet's falling apart so badly, it doesn't actually sit in there anymore. So that's cool. We should be able to disconnect that and pull that entire assembly out. So we'll start by just removing this tube. It's very dirty. Put that on our table. Then, since this is part way out already, wood's actually connected to the cabinet. So I'm assuming that this piece should have been connected in here as well, but it's not. So we'll disconnect it. And we have a electrical connector up here. So we'll disconnect that, and the light fixture comes out. Now there is an earth connection on the back of the speaker here, so we're just going to disconnect that, and I think we're going to have to use the ratchet for that. Now this is taking a 5/16, and my screwdriver won't fit in this gap here, which is why we're having to use the ratchet. So that is just turning. Okay, that's not helpful. That is not captive. So I'm going to hold the terminal while I undo the fastener with the ratchet, hopefully. This pesky little brute does not want to loosen off. It actually has lock washers underneath, and I guess they're a little bit old and stuck. So I'm going to have to get some WD-40 on that. There's that pesky little fastener right there. So we're just going to give that a second to sit there and do its thing. While we're waiting for that, we've got a power switch at the back there, up in the top. So we are going to get at those fasteners. Looks like there's one in the front right, one in the back left. I'll see if I can get through to those. I'm not going to be able to get a good shot on that, I don't think, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I managed to get at that first one from the front. The second one, I've got to go kind of up underneath here to get at and use feel. There it is. And the fastener's in at an awkward angle, so I'm having trouble keeping this socket on it. But we're turning. There it is. So we're just going to do a little bit of organisation at this point to keep everything together. I've got some Ziplocs. Interestingly, that one says switch, so yeah, we're going to put those screws from the main power switch in there, and we're going to bag and tag some of the rest of this stuff that we've pulled out as well and put it to one side so that we don't lose track of it. So I just managed to break off this ground strap that we were trying to remove. I don't think that was going to come off there intact anyway, so Hulk smash. Well, it's free now anyway, so down you go. So that's the main switch that we disconnected. We've got some clamps, so I'm going to get up on the underside there and pull that one off. We got that top one off, so now we need to zipper down and do the rest. Got to get the right angle on these things, otherwise the socket just doesn't catch properly. Just like that. Okay, we've got this leg of the harness for the power to the monitor, so we will disconnect that. Again, trying to get the right angle. Okay, we're going to mark this one up specifically because it's a little different to the others. We've got this one down here, which I can't do one-handed, so I'm going to do that off camera. And there we are, again, bagging everything up as we go. So we've got the switch, we've got the interlock, we've got the rapid fire board, we've got the board set frame fasteners, the original PSU fasteners, the main harness fasteners, and then that leg, the CRT harness leg, right there. So here we are at the fuse holder. We are going to use a screwdriver to just pop the bottom of that fuse out and then lift it up, pop it off, and then we can get at the fastener underneath here. So we're going to disconnect that off camera. We have also disconnected the connector down there, and the only other thing we need to do is this ground strap which sits on this post here. I don't know if you're focusing on that, but this ground strap that runs across here, just need to disconnect that and then we should be free. So we have the 4 fasteners, 1 in each corner of the board removed, the 1/4 inch, and the that rear leg, rear post of the isolation transformer where the or the transformer, sorry, where the ground strap was. That's an 1132 size socket for that. So this is actually free now. You can see very rusty, those fasteners, so I just had to go wash my hands so I didn't get all that rust juice all over my recording equipment. Now we're ready to try and unthread all of this and see if we can't get this board out. We've got a ground strap on here that I missed. I believe this is just kind of pressed onto the frame, so I'm just going to try and pull it off the other way. There we go. Now that's free. We can keep kind of feeding this back out, And no. There is also a pesky clip down there, so we need to take that off. I get a 1/4 inch down in there again. Okay. So now we should be able to pull this out of here. Ta-da! Okay, so we know what we can do with all this lot now is we can pop it in a box and get it put to one side. That doesn't look too good, does it? Yeah, lovely. Okay, well, let's get cracking with this other harness and get that disconnected and pulled out as well. Again, we're in here with a 1/4 inch socket. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to try and get all of these in the one shot. What's the deal with that one? Oh, it's in at a proper funny angle. And I couldn't see because it's a bit rusty. So, okay, we've got that one. That's loose. That's loose. That's definitely loose. Bingo. Let's collect up those clips. We've got 1, 2 up here. It's a bit stiff. Cabinet's a little bit wobbly. Now we got one hiding up in the top corner there that I'm probably not going to be able to show you on camera, so I'm going to grab that one off camera. We've got one more down this bottom side here, and then we can move around to the front. There we go. This coin box doesn't actually come out. There's a wooden frame attached in there. So we're going to have to kind of just reach in as best we can and get these fasteners out of here and get these clips off. There's 1, 2. It could just be 2. And then we get the main connector block right here, which I'll disconnect right now. And let's get those fasteners out. That's one. Having to do this one by feel. That's 2. So this is another main connector right here. So let's get that pulled off and drop that down back in there. And that should be that side done. Seems now all that's left at the top here are these 2 speaker spade terminals. So we're just going to disconnect those and Geronimo! Our harness should be free. So we're just going to gather it up, pull it out. Drop it on the table. We should be able to take this control panel off now as well. So there's a latch on either side, which we can reach up and disconnect. And we should be able to lift this up and away. Why can't we do that? There's one more, there's a third one. Right here. Boom. And we also have a ground strap. We will disconnect that ground strap from there. And then we can remove the control panel in its entirety. Yep, just that one left. So again, this is a 1132. Ground strap removed. I'm going to drop the fastener, and then I'm going to put the fastener back on the thread so we know which one that came from, and we're away. Here's something I've wanted to do for a while, which is remove this unsightly security bar here. So it's actually pretty loose. I can just turn it by hand. I've got a knot on the back here that's coming off, and make sure I don't drop anything back there. Right, that's it. So that's that one. Same on this side. It's very loose to begin with, so no special tools required. Oh, doesn't that look better? Doesn't that look better? Now we can pull the bezel out and take a look over this real quick. Let's see if I can get a something on it. There we go. Whew. This is the original glass bezel. It's not in great shape. It's got some crazing that you might be able to see now on the back, but it should clean up okay. I like it being original, so we'll see what we can do to salvage it. Since we're here, we're going to pull this kind of front protector off as well, this plastic surround. And we're back to our 1/4 inch socket. We've got 4 fasteners. Pull each one of those off. It's got a little plastic clip. Kind of holds this smoked piece of perspex down. 2. That's 3. And 4. And there's that. Now we've got that smoked perspex off, you can see what kind of damage we've got to the tube. We've definitely got some burning, and sure looks like Galaga to me. So just need to pull this plastic frame out of the way. Let's get this coin mag door off. We'll need a 3/8 socket, and we'll need to pull this coin box cover out, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4 fasteners behind here that we'll need to get at. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That didn't feel like that was wanting to come off for a second there. And number 4 has some ground straps attached to it. So of course I will drop that nut into the cabinet. There's 4. These ground straps really don't want to come off. I don't know why that is. I'm going to get a screwdriver. I'm going to try and prise these off from the back. That's got it. We're going to put the nuts back on the studs just for safekeeping before we pop this back over on the table. Now we should be able to pull these ground straps out now because the coin door was the only thing left holding them in. And there we go. Interestingly, there's a little bit of a ground strap. Looks like it's been cut off. I'm not sure why. Now the only things left to remove is the monitor itself and really this speaker at the top. I'm having trouble getting those lock nuts off of the speaker, so I need to figure out how to do that. They're not captive, they're just turning. So I need to figure out a way of doing that, getting those off without damaging the threads. I'm also a little bit concerned that it might be the monitor frame that's holding this cabinet together now. So I need to be a little bit careful when pulling that apart, but we need to go around the back so that we can get at the fasteners. So the way this works is we've got essentially, I think, 6 fasteners. We've got one here, one down the front, one on the other side, and again, one down the front. I think what we're probably going to do is take these fasteners off here so that the main frame will come away from this bracket, because otherwise, if I take these fasteners off, the bracket's going to get caught on this little wooden block. And then, once we've disconnected those 6 fasteners, we should be able to just slide this out on the rail that it's sat on and put it to one side. I'm going to see what I can do to get a decent shot of this without like the camera getting in the way. This is 3/8 again, so I'm going to take the frontmost one off first. No, I'm not. I'm going to need the ratchet for that. Back with the ratchet. Just needed to get a little bit more torque on it than I can achieve with a screwdriver. Okay, that's starting to feel kind of loose. Finger tight. There's one. There's 2. I've taken the ratchet extension off to get to this first one here because this bracket's in the way. So let's see if we can't get this one off. Okay, that feels like it's kind of finger tight now. That's 3. And I'm actually going to go and get at that one from the other side. I'm just having to support the chassis a little bit because it's wanting to slide down the rail and putting a bit of pressure on the bolt so that it wouldn't come out, but there's 4. Now we take these 2 off, and this socket is 1132. Oh dear, that paper is very old. Oops, that's 1, here's 2. Now the moment of truth. Okay, we should be able to pull this out up the rail, and then she's going to want to tilt down, so there we go, and we're out. Okay, there we are. The heavy thing is out, and we get our first good look at what's going on back here. I'm not going to delve into this at this point. Needless to say, this needs a jolly good clean, and I'll show you how I do that in a subsequent video. But yeah, the monitor is out. Yay! So even though the cabinet did not fall apart when we took the monitor out, I don't think it was far from it. Good gravy. Okay, well, I'm going to leave the rest of these brackets in for now. They may come out at a later date when we really get stuck into figuring out what to do with this cabinet. Okay, so here's our second round of parts removed from the cabinet. We've got everything laid out. We've got all of the fasteners and parts little parts bagged up so we know where they came from. And we are going to get all of this stuff boxed up and put away safely. Ta-da! It's magic. Good job. Well, great. We've achieved what we wanted to today in this heat, which is get this thing stripped down so that we can then start taking a good look at this cabinet, get these fasteners out, take a look at the base, probably flip it on its back and take a really good look around and see what needs done to fix the woodwork on this thing, strip this T-molding off, really get to town on the cabinet itself. I'll need to employ some cheeky techniques that I've got to fix some of the issues with the wood falling apart, but we'll tackle that in our next video. If you have enjoyed watching today's video, please leave a thumbs up, leave a like, let me know, and while you're at it, why not subscribe to the Owl Arcade channel? That way you will be notified when I post new videos of this project and many more. That's it for now. Love you, bye.